What's up, everybody? Black Nerd Planet. My name is Jordan.
Those are technical difficulties sounds. It's your boy Il.
Oh man, this is our Birds of Prey Harley Quinn Emancipation Proclamation review.
Declaration, iteration, reiteration. Plymouth Rock didn't land. Oh, sorry.
Wrong movie. Oh shoot. Yeah. Oh man, so this is a spoilered up episode because the movie's been out for a little bit, and that means you probably should have saw it already, and if you haven't, go see it.
Yeah.
And to start this conversation off, man, how you feel about this movie here, sir?
Going into it, I was kind of like, I don't know, because I don't have no particular feelings on Harley Quinn specifically, nothing that's like, oh yes, woo! Or
Same
nothing.
here.
But then, after seeing like trailers and stuff, and they showed that it had Mary Elizabeth Winstead, or Winstead.
Winstead.
Not really sure. I'm sorry about that.
Winstead.
But once I found out, I was like, okay, all right, this might be something.
Flap the beard. Fluff the beard.
Now I'm interested.
Oh shoot! Okay, so you had said that you liked her, like either before or after the movie came out, whatever. And I was like, man, I can't remember why. And then once again online on Twitter, somebody was like, The Range, and they were showing like movies she's been in.
Yeah.
And I forgot she was in Sky High.
Yeah.
I've never watched Scott Pilgrim, so that don't count for me.
Yeah.
Sue me.
She been in a lot of stuff though, even more like than that. Just just like the super popular ones. She been in some little random ones. She was in Swiss Army Man.
See, I've never seen that.
Yeah, she was in that. It was a little small role, but she was in that.
It was another movie that I've seen that was in that like pictures that person posted that I like. I can't remember what it was, but I wish we had another Sky High. But to keep going, keep going on your thoughts about said movie.
I mean, that was pretty much it. I thought it was I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And I thought that I could feel how, people were saying like, oh, this is DC's version of Deadpool and stuff. And like, yeah, I could see why people would say that and stuff, but it's different.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I mean, like, you can see why,
yeah.
But I wasn't sitting there thinking, like, oh, I'd rather see Deadpool or something. I like those movies a lot, but I wasn't getting
thinking that. I mean, like I said, I understand why somebody might be like, oh, yeah, but it wasn't like I was like, I'm ready to go. I should have just watched Deadpool again.
Yeah. I liked it, too. And I share the same sentiment that I was just kind of like, all right, DC is putting out another movie that we don't know where they're headed on, direction of these characters or storylines or whatever. And this is, and Harley Quinn she's only been in Suicide Squad, which it's like the worst DC movie. It's just garbage. But so it's just kind of like, I mean, Margot Robbie's a big star, and Harley Quinn is turned into one of DC's like most popular characters, like across all their platforms.
Yeah.
So it made sense for them to be doing this movie. It didn't make sense for a lot of people why she was like taking over for the Birds of Prey name and stuff and all that. And they separate in the title, whatever. But like my wife, she's a big Birds fan and she likes Huntress a lot. So she was just like, I don't understand why this would even be happening. Harley Quinn isn't a part of this at all.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, Bloodbath.
In the cinematic universe, it's always like a random occurrence how you get people introduced. And you know what I'm saying? Because you could tell they was like, okay, we want to make Birds of Prey, but are you sure they can stand strong enough? Are you sure people are going to want to watch this
anybody
movie?
give a damn?
Yeah, are you positive? So you could tell that they was like, all right, well, cool, we'll just do that. We'll throw her in here, and we'll get people who aren't necessarily huge Birds of Prey fans also.
Yeah, and this was a movie where we probably should have had my wife in on this discussion for a woman's perspective. But this is a movie where I saw a lot of women afterwards talking about what it did for them in terms of like representation and things like that. And it makes sense because, I mean, it's a movie. I mean, emancipation for a reason. Like, it's a movie about women standing up for themselves and taking control of the situation and not letting these scumbags rule their lives. But, yeah, overall, though, not to make that a lesser point, but, like, overall, like, I mean, it's a good movie. And I was surprised at the level of like cinematography in this movie is like pretty good. Because like if you come off of like Suicide Squad or like Justice League, you can be like, man, what the hell am I looking at? Like this is trash. Like, but this is all based in Gotham, which you know you can say is like New York or something. I'm not exactly sure what city they filmed it in. I know, I always think about it as Chicago because that's where they filmed Dark Knight at. But in terms of like set pieces and the colors and the costumes and you know just everybody's personality in this movie like really melded well. And it starts off, and this is getting into like plot points. It starts off with Harley describing like who she is and why she's in the position she is now, and talking about breaking up with Joker and stuff. And Jared Leto's like nowhere to be found in this movie, which I figured he wouldn't be because, I mean, it was kind of well out that he's not going to be Joker anymore and all that kind of stuff. But you would have thought that you would at least seen him, like at least a picture.
Like
you don't even see a picture. But just the way the movie was constructed in terms of like her describing like getting out of all these situations, but she was like relishing in the fact that people were afraid of Joker for some reason, and she kind of had immunity from trouble and all the hijinks she pulled because people were like, "Oh, Joker's gonna come and fuck us up when we mess with Harley, so we ain't gonna touch her." Yeah. So she was trying to live in like his shadow, which really wasn't good for her soul or whatever you want to say she has. But and this was also a case where there wasn't. I mean, Black Mask is the main villain. And I don't know how you thought about it, and I wonder from like general standpoint of people where people are like, oh man, what are like these characters doing right now? But they put you in a space where you just don't worry about it. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to ask you a question on how you felt about like them making it really about her, and then implementing the Huntress and Canary and everybody. And so, you know what I'm saying, like you said. They could have just been like, man, I don't know how we're going to introduce these people at all. Yeah. And that really should be the question, too. Like, how did you feel about the way that they presented everybody in this movie?
I think they did a good job. I think that they made it make sense for them trying to incorporate Harley into it. Yeah. Just being like, okay, this is a movie about Harley Quinn, but it's really about how this other group got together and how everybody kind of figured out that they can be strong on their own. You know what I'm saying? Because that's basically what like we said was the main theme, but it also is a part of the story and kind of makes it all make sense.
The one thing I think the biggest negative I did have about the movie is that you go through it seeing everybody's like different viewpoints, and really like 60% of it is like Harley going on. And what like her situation, and like they do like different like flashbacks. I don't know how you felt about that. How they be like, do this, and that. And like, oh, but like 4 minutes ago, somebody was over here fucking around.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of that's the thing for movies like this, like kind of action comedies now. It's like, it's part of like telling the story and like telling part of it, but then being like, oh yeah, but this part happened. And even just a part of like society as a, just like us, we kind of tell stories like that nowadays.
Yeah, in weird succession.
Yeah, whatever is kind of the funniest part of the story is, maybe the beginning, or it's like the lead, or sometimes, you got to set it up. So you do kind of got to go back only a few minutes, so then you can go back even more minutes, then you can come back to the to the end of it or whatever. So I think that's that's just kind of where movies are right now, especially like action comedies.
Yeah, I might have not made my point as clear on like because they did it where she was the first person to talk, and then I can't remember in what order they introduced people, but then it's like, oh, and Huntress is here, and this is where she, why she's popping up, and then this is why Canary's popping up, and then this is why Cassandra, whatever, is popping up. And it was just kind of like, okay, so when are they actually going to team up as like a unit? You know what I mean? And because it was kind of like, all right, I don't want this to be like well, they're saying Birds of Prey, but it's really just like, y'all there, but y'all ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, it kind of felt that way. But, as you go through the movie, I guess it kind of made more sense. But I don't know. Because that was kind of my thing. I was like, man, what the fuck? Like, where are they at?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, But I guess that's kind of also... Because normally in a team-up story like this, everybody meets and then they end up, like, fighting or something. And, coincidentally meeting and then accidentally fighting and then being like, oh, we supposed to be homies. Oh, okay, cool. Now we cool. So I guess that was maybe that was their way of not doing that. And... like tying them all together without making them like run into each other in a way that's like, I hate you. Oh, I hate you too. Especially because but especially because like as far as like women in movies go, it's usually that is usually the case, and not only in like superheroes, just two women in a movie always like, man, fuck you. It's that kind of idea where it's like, I'm pretty sure two women in a stairway not gonna fight every time they get in the stairway
on sight.
But I mean, okay, whatever you say, I'm not the one making these movies, so I don't have no say so or whatever. But maybe, and that's not even me saying that that's what they was doing, or just like maybe, a possibility, I guess, in another way to kind of introduce characters, but also keep like a focal point, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, and I liked when they did do the flashbacks in terms of like the jokes and, showing why they mad at, Black Mask or like whoever, different villains and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just a thing of, we've seen a lot of movies where they team up people. Like, I mean, Power Rangers might be a bad example, which they were teamed up like damn near the whole way, but they didn't even get their powers like really to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, what the fuck, man? Like, I waited like an hour and a half for y'all to finally morph, and it's over.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like too, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking like maybe because they aren't, and it's not that they aren't the best fighters, but that's not their like thing. It's like fighting. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they gonna have a whole bunch of team up fighting scenes, because they not really doing. They individually aren't like fighters in that way, where it's like,
you talking about in the Birds? Or you talking about Power Rangers?
No, I'm talking about Birds.
Okay, I was like, which one? I was like,
I'm talking about Birds.
Why you say they not fighters?
I'm not saying that they not, but it's just not that. It's not like when you see like Batman. Okay, you're gonna want to watch Batman in a ton of fight. Exactly. And I'm not saying that they not fighters. But I'm just saying that that's not their main like attribute, or you know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
That's not their whole thing. So a team up for them isn't necessarily a huge fight scene. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, are you seeing them team up, but they kind of like technically teaming up in this way, where it's not like a traditional like, all right, come on, let's just go whoop a bunch of people's ass real quick. Let's just go get into a big ass street fight. Because there are scenes where they are like fighting, and they can fight, obviously. Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm saying? Because that whole like skate scene was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and they was and they team like Canary and Harley meet up at one point, because like Harley ended up getting like super drunk or whatever, and Canary ended up like saving her and shit from like the little cronies trying to, because they ended up figuring out that Joker's not around anymore, so they like, oh, this is our chance to fuck her up, whatever. And she done jacked us up or whatever. And so yeah, they end up meeting up there. I thought it was cool that all those people that Harley did do wrong, like this movie or even like in Suicide Squad, like kind of came back and was like, hey, you, man, like random, like some random areas of town and shit. She's like running away.
And that was the thing too, where you, like you said, they Canary saved her because Huntress did too. But that's kind of how they. That's not how they were introduced necessarily, but it was like
a little like
first little cameo. Yeah, like all right, boom, here's this new person. Who's that? Wow, and then from there. So yeah, it was a, I think that was a cool way to like bring the characters in. Before you was like, all right, this is Huntress.
How did you feel about the other actors in the movie? Whether it was I can't think of her name right. Canary's actor. What is her name?
Journey Smollett.
Yeah, Smollett Bill.
Yeah, that's because that's what's her name's sister.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was or not.
Yeah,
Smollett. What's his name?
Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she did a good job. I think she's a pretty good actress. And I like, Rosie Perez, obviously.
Yeah, she a vet in the game.
Yeah, so that's cool.
I be having to remember she's like older now. I was like, damn, man, Rosie ain't white man can't jump, do the right thing, Rosie no more. Like,
still though, boy.
Like, hey, now. That's funny. And her character, Renee Montoya, like the cop that was kind of disgruntled and she had been done wrong, as a woman, and the men stepping over her in the police department. I thought that was cool too. Mm-hmm. And she was there to be like, she was like part comedic relief / actually like a more humanized person of like, she wasn't like crazy or nothing, but she was like, man, I'm tired of this bullshit. Like,
she was fed
something's
up.
got to shake now.
For sure. And I think that's cool too, because the characters that they did have, or the actors playing them, they all kind of were their own comic relief in the way if they all kind of, like you said, it was talking about like range and just being able to kind of be funny, and still be serious, or whatever it called for in the scene or whatever.
It was one of the funnier things was with Huntress, and they were showing how she grew up being the like orphan child, and she wasn't really like aware of like society, and she was raised in like that that camp of training and like homeschool and all that different stuff. So she was just like super awkward. Yeah, and she was like trying to figure out like why she was on like her revenge like trail, figuring out like what her name would be and shit. She's like, my name is, or like whatever she was saying and shit. Everybody's like the crossbow killer.
Yeah, they was calling her that. Or even like that scene where she was in the mirror practicing saying it. It was like, it's just like, because you don't ever actually see that of a superhero. Just pretty much put on the suit and
the rough edges.
Yeah, just be the person that they are under the suit or whatever. But yeah, so that was cool too. Like everybody was like, they were serious people, but they weren't taking themselves so seriously like typical DC movies kind of do their characters usually.
One thing, the Ella J. Basco, who played Cassandra Cain, and she was a child in this movie. I know about Cassandra Cain from like reading Detective Comics and stuff, because she's Oracle in the books, but she's also been Batgirl before, and I had like forgot that, because my wife was like, "Is Batgirl in this movie or not?" She didn't know that, and I just forgot. So she, relying on me to have the knowledge and shit. So I was just like, kind of like she's kind of supposed to be that role, and but me forgetting that she actually was supposed to be the Batgirl replacement, and because Birds of Prey is Canary, Batgirl, and Huntress. And so, she was like worried about that, and I was like, you could have Batgirl in the movie, but when you talk about establishing a character, which there's a Batgirl movie supposed to be coming out too, I don't know how far along they are with it, but when you establish a character like Batgirl, you gotta put a little more time in than you do with like C-level characters. Like, and Canary and Huntress are important, and Canary a little more so. But you gotta spend a little more time with that, because she has a strong connection to Batman, plus her father, Jim Gordon. So it's just kind of like, okay, you can't, like, if it's Barbara, you talking about Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, you talking about. So you kind of have to put a little more time into making that a thing. You can't just be like, here she is.
Yeah, just throw her in there, And like you said, with them being like kind of lower level characters, they can kind of be around at any point and be kind of varying ages. Where it's like, oh yeah, she just, at this time it was like 25 or whatever. Like, well, now she's 16 and that's good enough, or whatever. She's 18, that's cool, that's been enough time. So it kind of works out in their favor by, like you said, establishing her early and seeing like, oh yeah, okay, damn, she was a little orphan. She was running around, pickpocketing. Yeah, damn, okay, that does seem like. And she was like, dang, should I be good or am I bad or whatever? That whole like figuring yourself out kind of thing too.
The what I was about to fucking say to that. I guess because the central plot revolved around like Harley's trying to figure out who she is, and then Cassandra was like the foster child, and she got here like you said pickpocketing people, and she ends up pickpocketing the bad guys for the diamond or whatever. It brings her into like the grander scheme, and then Huntress is trying to get revenge on like all these different people that killed her family. And then Canary is working for Black Mask, and she just kind of wants revenge on, like, I don't even really remember, like, because her mother kind of got killed in that whole thing, like, way back, so she kind of wanted revenge for that, but she was working for the bad guys.
Yeah.
And then, Rosie just wanted to, lock everybody up because she a cop, but, so the way that they intertwined everybody I thought was cool, because it was like everybody had their reasons, but it turns into like I guess it just makes sense. Like, we all looking at the same thing. What did you think about Ewan McGregor? Because I thought he was probably like the biggest standout as Black Mask, which I forgot that he was like a really good actor.
Yeah, I don't know that I really even know him from anything else, I guess, but I think he did a good job though. I thought he was kind of funny too. Like, that's crazy,
creepy funny.
Yeah, and because he was kind of like a germaphobe too, or whatever. So it was like a quirky,
really eccentric.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool because, and this, I guess it's just me. I don't really know Black Mask like that. And
I don't either.
I've he's been the villain to some comics that I've read, you know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much the extent, never really going into detail on his background or even the type of person that he is other than a criminal. So I don't have no idea. So I thought that was cool to see him kind of they kind of humanized him a bit too in that way of being like, oh, well, he's just a regular person that don't like germ. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a creep.
Got
but
an attitude problem.
Yeah, just like maybe kind of a sociopath, but are we on sociopaths? It's kind of that kind of vibe.
Because he's working close to Zaz, which, and like when you think about the level of like comic book characters these are, like Black Mask is like a lower. He's not a trash villain. But in terms of like big time villains, he's a little lower on the scale.
Yeah.
Then Zaz is like, a little lower too, and he's pretty important, in different Batman stories and stuff. But like the way that they made all those characters feel like something, and this is where my point was that I kind of lost was that I like when I don't really know a lot about all the characters because I can leave my imagination to like not worry about like past like knowledge, and then this being a more contained story like help, because even like in the Deadpool movies where it is like it's something like it's a major situation, but it's the level of situation that these people can handle. And it's not like you don't have to get Superman to come fight Black Mask, you know what I mean? Like, because that was like a problem with Suicide Squad, was that it was all these like Joe Schmoes, and then it was like a freaking world about to come to an end situation. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, you don't do that. Like, why is Deadshot trying to save the world right now with some weirdos? Like, what's going on? But
it's just that, and then because it's like, does Deadshot even have the ability to save the world? Like,
I don't think shooting really well is gonna get you out of this galactic fight, buddy.
This fucking tornado is tearing up the town. You're not going to be able to snatch your way through it.
Freaking Aaron Black shoot a coin out there.
Get out of here, tornado.
But yeah, I liked Ewan McGregor's back, man. And the one thing I knew him for is Star Wars, because he's Obi-Wan.
Oh, okay, cool.
But like new Obi-Wan, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I really liked him a lot as that character. Just like you said, he was just like so weird and eccentric and stuff. And there's the part earlier in the film where they finally get Harley like in his apartment or whatever. And he was like getting Botox and shit.
Yeah.
And he was like, God damn it, just get off me, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like freaking out on the chick. And then he's like trying to be all weird and showing off these like, I don't know if you want to say it's stolen, but all these like artifacts he got from like Africa or some island. And he's like showing it off and shit. And the wife was just like, oh man, that's how the rich white people always do. Try to show off their shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, no one cares that you stole from this African tribe.
And they don't want you to see that they gotta go through hella trials and tribulations to be like with that Botox thing. And like, not saying that everybody needs that or whatever, but for the people that do, they usually aren't like open about it, or it's not like, hey, I'm doing this.
Like all out, he's just all out in the open with it. So that was pretty like, goofy.
Ouch, that hurts. And then like in also saying ouch, that hurts kind of showed a little bit of weakness in a way.
Yeah,
like, you know what? Fuck you, get out. Just leave. I'm tough and I'm the baddest one, so you leave. You know, man. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, damn, that's cool. That's not necessarily like relatable to me, but I understand that like that whole situation.
What did you think about the action in this movie? Because we had mentioned months ago how the John Wick choreographer is working in this one. It showed, because I thought the action scenes were like really good.
Yeah, and you know I like roller derby. So, like, for that to be one of the things, it was like, damn, wow, that's tight. You know, it's kind of
whooping
like,
everybody,
it's cool to watch.
That, the fight scene they have when Harley's trying to, she goes into the police station, and first she goes in there, like, the soft gun, like, air pellets or whatever, and, like,
sandbags and stuff,
So that was pretty funny. First I was like, man, what the hell is going on? But then when the fighting was like super violent. It wasn't to the point of just like, ugh, but it was violent enough for you like, god damn, like breaking legs, like two ways and stuff. Like, I thought that was like pretty cool, because that was something I was like, if anything's gonna be cool in the movie, it's gonna be the fights. But yeah, that particular fight scene where she's just taking everybody out was pretty funny. But now, I mean, one, it gets to the point, it's like, man, can Harley really just whoop everybody ass like this? I don't know. Oh shoot. And then and jumping ahead, even the final scene of them fighting in like that carnival area, and like all like the different like weird hands and mirrors and everything like that. Oh, that's a whole lot of movies like doing fight scenes with mirrors and shit. Yeah,
because it's kind of a cool aesthetic, and it helps you be able to like to show that like illusions. You know what I'm saying? And being like, oh damn, I'm fighting this person. Where are you, man? Let's square up. And it's like, boy, I'm everywhere. You can't touch me. I'm untouchable.
It always takes me to Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon. I don't know if you ever watched that before. But it's like in the big fight scene at the end, it's like mirrors and shit, and he's like, push, push, like striking shit.
Yeah, because breaking stuff shows that you can break stuff. How strong you are, can you break them? But it's also like, I don't care how many of you it is, I'll break them all.
Oh shoot. Yeah. Overall though, man, like not even like talking about every point of the movie, because I really can't remember every part. But yeah, I was quite surprised that this movie was as good as it is, and from and basing it off of the other like DC movies that have come out so far, this to me is like in the top 3. Like, I haven't seen Wonder Woman yet, and then the new one's about to come out, and I haven't seen Man of Steel, and I've never really watched Batman versus Superman like in its entirety. So like I can't judge it against those. But compared to like Aquaman and Suicide Squad and Shazam and Suicide Squad, Did you? And that to me is like, that's top 3 in the top 3 to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I thought Aquaman was enjoyable. Like, it was just kind of like, this is a movie. Like, I'm fine with this.
Yeah, I still ain't watched that.
Or Justice League. Like,
oh yeah,
that too.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn to me, or Birds of Prey, whatever. I feel like it's better than most of those. Like, it's up there with Shazam, for sure.
Yeah.
It gets muddy.
It's definitely amongst the top. I'd definitely say amongst the top 5 of like DC movies, if not top 3. Because I mean, like you said, even going down the list, to try to even compare, most of them are like mediocre at best, or we feel like, or you feel like, man, that was cool, it was a cool little movie because we needed that part of the story or whatever. But it's like, this was actually a pretty good movie. The acting was done really well. The story, I think, was pretty well done.
And it kept it, and it was grounded enough. Like, comic book movies is hard to, get that balance.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one where, I don't think it was like any magic or anything going on. So you didn't have to like worry about that and shit. So it's kind of like, you can keep it in like on a certain level playing a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially with like the violence they were using and stuff.
And I was going to say that probably is the reason why you could be a little bit more, it was a little bit more shocking to see some of the violence, because any other time it would just be like, damn, Superman's so strong, he just broke him up into a million pieces. And it's
tossed
not
him
as
across the room.
Yeah, and it's not as like zoomed in and like, damn, that's gross, you know what I mean? But because they're like regular people, it's kind of like regular injuries, even though it's not. So it's like, damn, your legs is really broken. Like, but when you think about it, it's like, we see a lot of broke legs on TV. You know what I'm saying? Being like seeing the bone, especially like sports and stuff.
TV.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, is that a bone? And everybody's like, man, did you see Ricky?
Show it again.
Yeah, man, you see Ricky broke his leg last night, man. Fuck, it was crazy.
Oh god.
So yeah, I think that, like you're saying, it just kind of helps to like level it, and you being like, oh damn, okay, that is something that can happen outside of comic books, or it's real. It's a real story about 5 real people or whatever.
And I guess the one thing that you can kind of count as magic or abilities is Canary, because looking into how they played it out with her power, because even my wife was like, are they ever gonna have her like use her power at all? Because they like mentioned it like earlier in the movie, because Rosie's like, your mother had your gift, whatever, blah blah blah. And and they show Canary singing at Black Mass Club, and like people was kind of like, oh shit, like,
yeah, because she broke a glass. Yeah,
and then it comes back, in the later in the final battle where they're kind of in a dire situation. She's like,
yeah,
should I do it? Oh god, everybody come your ears. Yeah. And so that was like the closest thing you're gonna get to like, okay, I mean, how do you play with that and stuff?
And it was cool that they did kind of wait to do it, because it also kind of showed that she hadn't really been using it. It was still like, this is still like an origin story, you know what I mean, where people are still kind of figuring out who they are and what they actually can do. So it was like, yeah, this is Black Canary, but this isn't like Black Canary that's been in the game, married to Green Arrow, and it's like screaming all over the place. Like, you could tell that even the one that she did was like, whoo, I gotta sit down for a second, man. That took the wind out of my sails. So it's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Still, like I said, like an origin story, still giving those origin story vibes.
And and I'm happy with the performances and the the cast that they chose. I don't know if I've really seen, if I did see it, I just ignored it, like any like backlash on them making Black Canary be a person of color. I'm not exactly sure like I don't know what the Smolays are, but I wouldn't be wrong. But you know what I mean, because Canary's typically white in the books and stuff. So I'm surprised I didn't see more people like, man, I can't believe this, but that probably coincided with all the misogynistic dudes online being like, I'm not watching this.
Oh, women, and a black one?
No. Because the sad part about this being a good movie is that it's come after, like we said, like so much like average and like junk DC stuff, and it's R-rated, which, I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, but it kind of leaves a certain portion of the fan base out. Like we were talking about on other stuff where, you know, Harley Quinn is in this like in between of kids know who she is because of like cartoons, but then like adults know her from like books and Suicide Squad or like the new cartoon that's more adult themed.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how do you really put her in like a certain category?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think it only, I'm not exactly sure what the number is now, but it had like the lowest like amount of like the opening weekend for like DC movies or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sucks that it's like that. I feel like word of mouth is like a thing of the spread for it, but yeah, it sucks that it didn't do so well numbers wise.
Mm-hmm.
It still made money, but it wasn't like blah blah.
Yeah, doing super crazy numbers, and yeah, so it's just kind of like, damn, that sucks. But like you said, it's cool though. Go watch it because it's tight. It's actually a good movie.
Yeah, this is something I could see myself watching again, like if it's on TV or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of movies,
Watch it one time, and that's good enough.
Because like you said earlier, the jokes is funny, like the action's nice, the story's not something you're just like, what the hell are you talking about? Mm-hmm. You know, we don't have a review scale besides 1 out of 10. I'd give it like an 8.
Yeah, I'll say probably about an 8, 7.5, 8. That's cool.
I don't know how many movies, or just comic book movies, I'd give more than that. Maybe like 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like in like high 9s and stuff like that. But I give it a solid 8. Because it's not perfect, but it's definitely like, if you're looking for a good time and a DC movie that doesn't suck.
Yeah, that's rare. So it definitely get bonus points for that.
Because we're still waiting to see. Because I know they said like Flash is supposed to come out next year, and maybe Cyborg comes out one day, and maybe Green Lantern is still a thing. I don't know.
See, they said, man, fuck that. We about to drop Batman. Don't worry about it.
That's the meme where you know which button to press. More Batman or this.
More Batman. Don't worry about it. Y'all didn't pay to go see Birds of Prey. That's cool. Don't worry about it. We got a Batman coming. We didn't
want y'all to watch it anyway.
Yeah, we want you to watch this Batman again for the 430th time.
And you know, speaking of Batman, and I want to see how the next movie is gonna play out. But even with Ben Affleck Batman, I wish he would have got his own movie, because I thought like he was fine.
Yeah.
And even when he did appear like in Suicide Squad, like that was like a cool part to me.
Yeah.
Like when he jumped on the car and shit, or even like Justice League, I thought he was one of the better parts of that. But
yeah, and I don't care, you know, I don't care about Ben Affleck, but yeah, I would have definitely watched the solo Ben Affleck Batman movie though, for sure. I mean, he got to get the same respect as all the other Batmans do. If you get to be Batman, then you got to at least get a chance. I feel like they was like, nah, fuck that, you suck. Get out. We hate you. Leave.
Get out of here, man.
Leave.
You're done. You're not the real Charles Barkley.
Who are you, man? I said, you know what? I'm not. I never wanted to do this anyway.
My agent made me do it.
I need a check. Well, think about having another baby, man. You know how it be.
Yeah, pay these kids.
Need a new chain.
Oh,
you imagine Ben Affleck as like Ben Baller on his Instagram buying a chain or something. I'm getting a chain or something.
Ben Affy. The BA. BAF.
I'd probably watch more Ben Affleck movies if he did that.
Just become some random jerk. What a douchebag.
Like, boy, hey.
Ben A.
That'd be crazy.
Oh, man. Well, that was our Birds of Prey discussion. If you like hearing us talk, I guess, you know, let us know about it.
Up, man?
Like and subscribe. Text everything me. Like that.
You
said text you.
Yeah, I was about to say. It's
like, wait, what? So that's new. Let me know.
I'm probably ain't gonna text back. I'm bad at that, but
he'll be like, man, I don't see red on this yet. Damn it, Marlon. Oh man. Well, everybody, thank you.
Peace.
Peace.